was particularly dominant on maps like these, control maps.
Yeah, as we're loading onto Ruins, are we gonna see this? Will they go for a solo support composition, Goliath now, on the Widowmaker? Well, Gladiators Legion, they're gonna swap out one of their DPS for that Sombra. It's gonna be Blase on it. Corey versus Nene on the Widowmaker, though.
All right, and we'll see just what Nene has in store here, looking for early pickoffs. Gets the early headshot on the Diva, gonna not demech, but give Gladiators Legion a little bit of pause before they dive in here early on. And Nene already on the prowl, looking for these pickoffs. Had a chance for Lucio, doesn't quite get it. And Legion, they're going up this left side, and now they strike. They pick off Mangachu to start out the fight.
Mangachu is the first punished here, but Midnight and Clone Man have answered back. DMEC and the frag on to Pooks with Blase. As he gets his way back onto the point, Clone Man has fallen now. So it's just a war of attrition at this point.
War of attrition, but Blase in a good position right now, laying in the damage from the flank. The Legion have moved their way in. They have gotten enough space, and they're going to get first control here early on.
Surprising, Nene has done a lot of damage. I mean, if you look, he's already at 83%, while Corey hasn't been able to do as much, half as much actually, currently sitting at 41 now. But it was Blase doing a lot of work on that Sombra, but Nene, first peek, gets the kill. Corey has fallen.
Very nice early pick here from Nene, which is going to give XL2 the room they need. They have that advantage. Nene gets plenty of room in the back, and they just dive in. They demech gods immediately. They don't have to worry about it. Now they turn to Panker, who Panker dives into the backline, Mangachu chasing him back, and Panker's still making room, even as his team was in a rough spot. The Legion coming right back, powered by the EMP, and despite the early pickoff, it's not enough. Nice space being made by Panker in that moment.
So now, surprisingly, Adam, even though he is basically the solo support for XL2, hasn't been able to build up the sound barrier quite yet. As a solo support, you imagine that you are, but because it is a really heavy dive composition, XL2, it's difficult to heal up the tank line, and that's where Clone Man and Midnight are really struggling.
Key to victory here for XL2 is going to be both the EMP into the Dragon Blade, where let Mangachu have room to work with. Goliath actually gets taken out of stealth, 60 HP, doesn't have great ability to drop the EMP. Panker actually starts up the fight, finds Nene to begin with. Now if you engage with the Dragon Blade, it's nowhere near as good. Panker again, his special, getting picks before the fight begins. He's done it again.
I am really now up against, really against this solo support composition coming out from XL2. Without it, we see the tanks just absolutely melting here. They're even gonna get a pick. Goliath has fallen 85%. Gladiators Legion so close to taking this point.
I'm just gonna note, Panker is a tank. He is a Winston, a scientist, and yet he gets more early pickoffs than some of the other DPS players in the game. He just has very good game sense where to go. He's coming off the flank again looking for Nene. XL2 Academy, they open up the barrier, and Mangachu looks confused, doesn't really know where to go early on. And the point not quite taken here in the begin with, and now it's a late blade from Mangachu. Pulls the blade, looking for Zen, and gets cut off by Panker once more! Panker out of the blue, coming back in for the Legion.
He is just everywhere and all over this map now. He's back onto the point. XL2, in the last moments, they were able to flip it, but still, do they have the manpower to maintain it? Doesn't look like it. Midnight has been demeched, and Panker instantly goes into the back with that Discord orb, taking out Clone Man 16.
Please kill Panker, please! His plays here for the Legion have been silly. Fighting back fights that shouldn't be fought back. Early pickoffs constantly. The Legion retake control point, and Nene is going for a ride here in the back as Panker doesn't even let anyone get up in time to trigger overtime.
And this is the difference in the support, or excuse me, in the tank line between the two teams. I mean, it's already a difficult task on the side of XL2 for Midnight and Clone Man to try and rely upon Lucio's heals. At some point, I feel like Goliath should have swapped off from that Sombra, as we do have a pause coming in. But really though, Clone Man and Midnight just had such a difficult time just trying to stay alive. I wasn't really able to see who had the outside Mega hacked, but I wouldn't rely upon that to keep your tanks up.
Well, the other thing too is, again, like, it's easy to go Mangachu and go, oh, we didn't get good blades there, but the other problem is that for Genji to get a good blade, you have to have a good setup by your tanks, and what we saw there was that XL2 was having trouble taking these fights on the terms they wanted, so the one time Mangachu does pull out this blade, they're just like, wait, where do I go? really had nowhere to go. And
directly into Winston DPS, apparently.
yeah, well, directly to Panker just coming out like a bus from nowhere. It's like, runs into Mangachu. It's like, okay, well, that's a thing.
It was just crazy because he was omnipresent. He was everywhere at the same time. Somehow, he was just all over the map. And I don't know how he actually, you know, keeps his cooldown so low, but he is just jumping left and right.
It's a true 5D gorilla. Like, yeah. I don't know.
All right, our game is back up. Let's check it out, see if we pick right back up where we left off.
Well, now we get to go to the Lighthouse stage, where aptly named, you see the Lighthouse on top. I'm not really sure ships in this day and age need the advantage of light, but, you know, a little bit old school.
It just helps. I mean, just the aesthetic of it. I'd like to eventually one day just live in a lighthouse by myself.
Wow, that is a very oddly specific life goal. I guess when you want to avoid people and just watch ships come out to sea, that is what you can do. But Lighthouse dreams aside, XL2 Academy in on the left side here early on, and they're taking the side to the left. I think they're worried perhaps about seeing a Pharah to begin with, and the Legion, they're going to prioritize the point, but Blasé's taken down early, and that's the opportunity that XL2 needed.
Yeah, the orb along with the micro rockets just melting in here, but somehow Gladiators Legion, they're making some progress on the point. They were so close to capping it. Cloman had to rush in. He dropped slow. Midnight gets the frag onto Panker, taking him out. So he can be bloodied. He can be taken out.
He can die. They focus-fired him there early on. It was Midnight that was really coming in from the side to catch him off guard. And XL2 making a stand here, getting onto points, a little bit away. The Legion's still delaying, but at some point you have to wonder, okay, we're feeding ult, let's just back out. Hoop's gonna get hacked, taken down here, as Midnight continues to dominate space at the point.
Blasé almost gets taken out there. He's able to translocate out, trying to take the 1v1 against Mangachu, but he had the backup of Goliath now. And we're seeing the tank line being supported much better now that Goliath is gonna be able to directly heal them.
Legion, as they come in, they'd like to give Corey some space on the top. They're coming in from the high ground, so you can use the tack visor. Plenty of clear shots here. XL2, though, I think they're wise to it. You look at how XL2 is playing really far off the point. They don't mind giving up some progress on the point if they can immediately dive in on the Gladiators. And now they come in from the flank, push Corey back a little bit. He's able to stay alive, no issue. But Blasé's doesn't have a great EMP target here either, as XL2 Academy defending this pretty well in the outskirts as they try and poke down the Legion repeatedly. But now the Transcendence is in, and the Legion is going to commit. As Panker gets 2!
Wow, he just corners them with that Primal Rage, takes out both Mangachu and Adam. So with that, to be able to flip the point, Gladiators Legion taking it, but with some losses, so they have to regroup here. There's a moment for XL2 to just jump onto the point.
XL2, again, their dream would be have Mangachu come over the top, drop the EMP, get 2-3 people, dive from there, and that's what they're looking for. Mangachu now on the prowl, invisible, diving in stealth, looking for 2-3 people at a time, and he's like, where do I go? Drops the EMP on the point instead. Dene, neutralizing Corey from afar. We have the barrier come in from the Legion right after, though, and that gives Corey space. Cloma and Midnight are out, but so is Panker. They focus Panker early in the fight, but now look at all the room Corey still has. No one really got in on him. Room to work with on the top, and the Legion is still going to hang on.
Much better.
Yeah. They thought the EMP would be enough onto both tanks, but you still had to worry about Corey from the high ground that entire time. He did get dinked a few times by Nene, but it was not enough to deter him, especially when he's got the pocket of Zenyatta along with that Lucio to keep him alive. All the peels in the world now. Legion sitting at 55%. XL2 has some great tools to try and open this up, though.
It's XL2's fight to lose here. You open up with the Valkyrie, let Adam go to the skies, keep everyone alive versus Corey's poke. He should be able to stay alive even if Corey focuses him. XL2, they just need to be aggressive here. Use these advantages to your advantage as you move in. The Valkyrie is up, and expect to see Adam use it here in just a moment, but they're taking the point, part on the point, part over the top. Now they dive in with the Valkyrie, Adam supporting all the while. The self-destruct comes out from Midnight, doesn't get much. Blaze, though, out of the fight is Adam still healing the entire time. It's this Mercy healing the back that they can't deal with that opens up the opportunities as XL2 pushes their way into the point.
Yeah, Mangachu with the 3K towards the end of that fight now. XL2 really didn't have to commit much. The Valkyrie along with the self-destruct, that's pretty nice, but Gladiators, for this possible final fight, if they can just take this. They have a lot of tools coming on up. They've got Corey once again with that tactical visor, and it's going to be Panker with the Primal Rage to create the space that he desperately needs to be able to use it.
Nene is gone out of his way to put himself on the high ground all the way to the back. The reasoning is he'd love to get a good Deadeye here. Both teams looking towards the setup. Gladiators, Legion, now again just looking for the right way in. They certainly don't want to get Deadeyed here early on. Cloneman under pressure, able to leap out. Mangachu drops the EMP under pressure, barely kept alive. The Transcends for Goliath comes in just in time. Then he goes, all right, I've looked at my watch. It's high noon. Doesn't get clipped by the self-destruct, but also doesn't get anything with the Deadeye as it goes on. The power is on the point, and the power is with the Legion right now. They got both Goliath and Mangachu, and now it's just about cleanup as Adam gets caught off guard by Panker from the side. Panker builds up Primal Rage, making space once more, and he's gonna be knocking D.Va right off the point.
Missed timing there, coming out from XL2, and that's gonna be them dropping this map up against the Legion. Legion taking the 2-0 on Ilios.
One thing I will note here is that we did see a little bit of an adjustment there where Panker was definitely getting focused harder from round 1 to round 2. He didn't have his sort of, I'm from the shadows, no one's looking at me, like he did on round 1. So XL2 was already adjusting.
Yeah, that was something that I was going to bring up. It seemed like as soon as they started over-focusing Panker, it came at the cost of neglecting Corey's 76, and he was starting to get some pretty strong plays on that.
Yeah. Definitely he was, but also, yeah, that focus coming out from Panker. Once they did try to readjust and try to, you know, equalize it out and try to give everyone the same amount of focus, that's where Panker was able to just open up once again. You either, like, wholeheartedly focus on him, or he will destroy your, like, back.
We have a couple of replays with Panker right here, so we'll take a look at this. You guys want to talk on this?
And this is just good Panker stuff where the context of these, we're seeing it in the middle of the fight, but the context generally is that Panker is more willing than other Winstons to push the boundaries on how aggressive he is, where he's hiding, where he's catching teams off guard, and he's very just cerebral as a player, and it gives him these opportunities that we don't see other Winstons typically get.
So you guys talked about how XL2 adjusted to compensate for like how aggressive Panker is on that Winston. How do you see Panker then adjusting back?
Well, you just hold back, right? If you're going to have Midnight go, I'm going to focus Winston every time instead of focus on Corey, Panker then can conserve his cooldowns and go, oh, here comes D.Va. I'm just going to leap back the other way. I'm not going to take this because there is this change in focus. And it's this constant back and forth between what you're expecting the other team to do versus what they really do. And if you're going overly ham on one tank, it's up to that tank to sort of remove themselves from the fight until the pressure is passed.
All right, well, as you can see, our next map has been announced. It is Hollywood. Jamerson, how do you see XL2 trying to pull kind of Gladiators got a 1-0 lead right now on the maps?
I think this is where this is a map where Panker can't have as much influence. This is where Nene and Mangachu can really draw upon their experience. I want to see Mangachu go for the far, particularly when they go to point A offense. Along with Nene, we saw he had crazy Tracer play. This is where they can really pick apart the defense of Gladiators and really take advantage of that.
Specifically at stage 2 here, where tanks, generally speaking, have less of an impact on stage 2 because it's so wide open. DPS that can flex their might like Nene have so much room to work with on stage 2. However, it's also kind of a test of Panker here where as far as Winstons go, he finds new and innovative ways to catch people off guard. So if there's any tank that could actually get more done on second than most, it actually still might be Panker. So regardless, I'd still say Hollywood second might be an edge to XL2 given where their strengths are versus where the Legion strengths are.
And when it comes to XL2 playing against that tank line, is there anything XL2 can do aside from what they kind of what we've already seen them doing with changing the focus, with Midnight coming in the way he has been, with more kind of aggression with that? Where do you see them being able to pick up the slack?
I want to see actually Zen Mercy coming out more from Adam and Goliath because Panker is basically going on solo missions to go into the support line and take them out by himself. It's pretty impossible for a Winston without a Primal Rage to take out both a Winston or either a Mercy or a Zen who's pocketing each other. And so I want to see them rely upon that. We got to see that during the OWL. Miro was having a difficult time trying to deal with the Zen Mercy coming out from, I believe it was London that they were playing against, and that's one of the best ways to neutralize him, make sure that he can't kill you.
Also just counter-engage, right? Where if you have this trend of a tank constantly trying to get on your supports before the fight even begins, you take that logic another step forward and go, oh, he's probably going to be pushed out, so you focus on him and don't really commit on your own dive until you figure out and establish where is this Winston that is just so brazenly in our backline.
Now, you had also mentioned, and we have some replay from it from last Sunday, Mangachu's kind of proficiency with Pharah.
People sometimes identify him as a Pharah one-trick, but he's anything but in recent times, and yet Pharah is still probably his most effective hero, both historically and in the moment.
Yeah, he just finds great avenues of approach, and once he is able to find a target, he just will doggedly go after the target, as we saw him go after that Lucio there.
Yeah, and XL2 ended up pulling away with that 3-1 in that particular matchup.
Yeah, XL2, they looked great in that matchup. They sort of decided to say, look, we're going to be one of the teams to beat here. We thought they'd be off the roster, but they played well to back that up. And that's part of why we're so hyped for this matchup here today.
Yeah.
So, Jamerson, who do you see... actually, I guess both of you guys, because you guys have both said on separate occasions that the perception is that Mangachu is a one-trick pony kind of thing. Where do you see his other strengths lie?
Well, for starters, Genji. He's grinded out Genji significantly, and look, I've seen his Genji in the past. It was bad. I watch his Genji and go, oh God, please, no more of this, but he's improved on it. It's much better.
Yeah, he definitely has, but also, you know, if he wants to go draw from the well, he can go towards the Junkrat. I mean, he's just a really great projectile hero, or projectile specialist, and honestly, because we are going to Hollywood, maybe he can bust out the Torbjorn for us. It's something that can catch teams off, and Torbjorn, along with the Junkrat, can really kind of neutralize a Winston while not giving up too many weaknesses itself. I mean, we got to see it when we saw the Torbjorn on Hanamura, I believe, last week. It shut down Genji's pretty effectively. It is something you can draw to, but it's still a composition that you need to practice well.
So why would you choose like Torbjorn? Like you mentioned Torbjorn being paired with. Who it wasn't?
No, just Mangachu. He's been known to play.
But you said Torbjorn and a Junkrat as opposed to like what we saw in Hanamura, which was Torbjorn and Orisa.
Oh, no, there's a Torbjorn Orisa Junkrat. And the thing is, like, once the dive comes out, generally when you do run that Torbjorn, the first focus is to just immediately jump on, use all your cooldowns to burst down the turret so that the Torbjorn can't build up his ultimate. But if you lay down a trap there, you're going to catch someone because everyone's diving on it.
I would say the best use of Torbjorn, generally speaking, is if you think there's a flanking DPS on the other team that is getting away with too much. Like, if you're up against Who Are You, as we saw, where Who Are You went up against a Torbjorn turret last week, is like, wait, what is this? What is this mysterious thing that has caused me to only get 50% ult after 3 minutes? Why is it killing me? So that's usually the power of Torbjorn, is like checking flankers more so than anything else. And yeah, I mean, Mangachu can run it. I don't think we're going to see it here, but I'm always willing to be surprised, especially when Torb is involved.
Anything else that you guys would be surprised at seeing?
Surprised at seeing here on Hollywood? Not too much right now. I mean, we're still trying to, figure out more about the Gladiators roster at this point. Blase and Corey, they haven't had to open up as much. I mean, we've seen the typical, the Genjis, Tracers, and the Widowmakers so far, but I want to see what else that DPS roster can bring.
And one thing I'd be surprised if we saw a ton of Sombra coming into this, where we did see more Sombra even than the last map than I was expecting, especially given that, you'd have teams like Grizzlies going, no, we're not going to do this anymore. So if we saw both teams rely on it heavily, even as we got in the hybrid, that would surprise me.
All right, well, let's see what route they go. We're going to go ahead and roll on into our first matchup on Hollywood. Gladiators Legion, XL2 Academy. Whoop, we've got to pause.
Aha, just when you think the game is going to begin.
So close.
No, it's not. We are going to pause for technical reasons.
Okay, so you guys have been very excited about XL2 and Gladiators. Who else, what other matchups do you want to see between these two teams? Do you think there's any other team on the Group A side that can kind of hold their own against these teams?
Oh, let's say Toronto versus Gladiators.
Yeah.
Because Toronto is definitely, I think they are still third in the group, but they did play XL2 really closely relative to other teams. So, I mean, Toronto Esports is versus Gladiators. That's where you can almost set up a situation of A beats B, beats C, beats A. So that's still a very important matchup to look to, because those teams, to me, are the top 3 in the group right now.
Yeah, I would actually absolutely agree. I can't wait to see Toronto versus Gladiators at this point. But Mayhem, you know, they're starting to make a name for themselves. They're starting to really prove what they can do. Zado might still be kind of like the weak link on that point because, you know, we only got to really see him go for the 76, go for the Sombra, go for the Pharah. Well, I want to see a little bit more out of him.
I think, well, you actually bring up a good point to a degree, is that it's going to be, I think, Mayhem. It's sort of Mayhem versus last night's leftovers, perhaps, fighting for that fourth spot.
Yeah. And
that's going to be a very important matchup as well. Not because either of these two teams necessarily cream of the crop of Group A, but because when you're looking to fight your way into playoffs, that's still going to be very important.
Do you guys have any idea? We have some replay from Tuesday's matchups from the Group B section. Do you guys have any kind of favorites between, and this is thinking way ahead towards playoffs, do you have any teams that you want to see from Group A go head-to-head with someone from Group B?
I want to see, basically, for me, the top teams in Group B, you have Optic, you have Fusion, and I'd definitely be interested to see, say, XL2 or Gladiators go up against any of those two teams. Group B, perhaps a little bit more wide open, but a lot of killers there. NRG also surprised. Like, let's not underrate NRG here, where NRG came in a lot stronger than we gave them credit for, and NRG also has the potential to play spoiler in this group. The team, unless they have a wild change that I'm not as excited for, is that bye week has to learn to play stuff other than quad tank. I think Optic kind of made it clear that, no, you're not going to quad tank your way to victory. This is not Contenders Trials, this is Contenders proper.
And if you guys are as excited, I guess, as our lovely esteemed anchors here. Group B, they do play. It starts 4 o'clock on Tuesday. I'm not here this Tuesday, but I don't know who's going to be on the desk. They haven't made the announcement yet, but you guys are going to have an amazing time with them. We are going to roll back into game, but we'll talk more about that after this matchup.
All right, so the wait is over. We're back in the Hollywood. It's surprising no one. Mangachu going to be opening up on the Pharah.
Yeah, so they do have the Pharah along with Nene on that Tracer. With Goliath, he's going to be picking up a pretty good healer in the Moira.
Well, he is on the boy right here. Mangachu going to go up over the cafe. Again, dropping the proxy back. Oh, goodbye. Rulf found Nene, and talk about a way of getting rid of a threat. Now you can just focus on Mangachu here, where XL2, they've committed onto that point, but the only person that's really going to be doing heavy damage, well, it's Mangachu, and now it's Gods forcing him back. He's going to get healed up while under pressure, but meanwhile, you look to the front line, and the Legion have full control of the point.
Blase almost had a retire. Take a look, 88%. Well, XL2 haven't been able to do much. Wow, really aggressive coalescence coming out from Goliath there as they're charging into the cafe. Now, they don't have the greatest of angles, but Nene will finally get the kill on the Blase, who gets instantly res back in.
Got res back up, and that's important. That means he can bring a tire into the fight. He's going to let it rip. The tire coming back the other way. Where is the tire? Parkour over the top and picks off 2. Blase, he's Junkrat, he's an undead, and he's able to come back in with the tire when it matters most, just when you think the threat is past.
The Legion, they're just playing this defense so well right now. Panker, as you see, he's just hold position, basically in that front door. So what he can do is if anyone tries to get past him, he just goes ahead and uses his Fortify. You cannot pass.
And yet, it's still better than we use on Winston. His Theresa doesn't really feel to be anywhere near as intimidating as Winston, in part because he has to play defensive, right? He can't be flanking people as Theresa, or at least he hasn't made the attempt yet. I'd be entertained to see it, but the fight now is underway. Legion on the defense. Corey off the flank. Pulse Bomb out, connects. Clone Man out of the fight, but Mangachu, the evener, over the top, gets rid of Panker and the Supercharger, coming back the other way. But Panker's back up. The cafe is going to be well protected, and Legion rope-a-doping XL2 really well here.
Yeah, really well, and that's the strength of playing inside that cafe. You're not going to be taking these shots from Mangachu. You've got the cover to go for a very safe res here. Panker, who had died inside of it. So Mangachu resets himself. Blase getting focused down, but he will be able to take out Clone Man. And now XL2 Academy, they've already lost so much time.
I think they probably should have gone off the fair a little bit earlier. The way Legion is playing in the cafe is highly defensive. It's ruining their lives. They're going to be coming in really quickly for this next attack, but look, Blase has the rip tire, so they're going to load themselves in and probably get loaded out just as soon by this tire.
There it is. Rip Tire is coming out. It's making its journey over the rooftops of Hollywood.
and only took 6 damage. It's moving in and about faces XL2. They're still losing so much time in the process, and okay, it DMEX Midnight. That's actually the worst of both worlds, where they got delayed for 10 seconds, and it still got the mech.
Yeah, so that's going to delay them even further. Midnight's going to have a difficult time trying to get that mech back, especially because, well, they have nothing really to deal with the Orisa shield, so no damage is going across right now. Corey almost dropped, but he's able to make it out safely. Blase is the one that takes out Goliath. Adam, bring him back into this fight.
Blase's had so much room to work with that he's been able to just impose his will upon the game. We haven't talked about as much, but it's really the damage he's doing, not even the cleanup kills, that have just ruined XL2 Academy's engagements here. And now, look at the Legion. You have Corey here on the side, has the pulse bomb up, and XL2's taking an awful lot of time. This will be their final attempt at point A. And now look, the self-destruct to the skies, not gonna connect, as now Mangachu is gonna be moving in.
Mangachu pushing forward, connects with the rocket onto Corey. This is the opportunity they need with the DPS down, but they are able to kite away from this coalescence once again, just retreating, but a great pulse bomb. Nene connects, Blase and Panker down. Who do you res at this point if you can even res, Pook?
That's how you solve your rat problem. Blase is the one they go to. He's back up. He's actually really close to a rip tire. I don't think they have enough men on the field to actually bring this back, but hey, fire in the hole nonetheless. Tire out, Blase down, tire does nothing. Well, DMEX Midnight, but moral victories as XL2 Academy is going to get this limo moving.
That was a very tight window for XL2 to be able to capture that. Midnight swapping just to get his mech back, and now he is back into the fray. They'll be afforded an extra 2 minutes and 20 seconds here to try and capture this out, try to get to the second checkpoint. But now this is Panker region. This is where he gets to really open up.
Well, he's on Winston, but it's also a little bit more difficult. Oh, Mangachu clipped out of the skies. Gods just runs him over. The sky bus that is Diva. He's going to get brought back up, but the Legion being highly aggressive here, trying to keep the spike contained to a choke point where, oh, no, pulse bomb eaten. Corey throws it out aggressively to a Diva, ends up getting punished. Panker still in the fray of things in this fight. Neither team, though, committing too hard as both are at full HP. It's kind of, there's a dance here, but neither team wants to make the decisive move.
Yeah, and that really does favor the defense at the end because they are drawing this out longer. Starting to burn off the clock from XL2 Academy. Corey coming in with a double kill there, gonna force them back. They might even get a great stagger here onto the Mercy.
Well, they're looking for it, and they're now with 2 down. That's why they're going a little bit more aggressively into the cafe, and they get to fully reset here. Legion in a good spot. Well, okay, what we're seeing from Legion here is that Legion is in the process of being fully reset. That Panker has a Primal Rage in reserve. XL2, though, has options here. They would love to have Mangachu land the barrage in a good way. And Mangachu, oh, he blows himself up. That is not the good way. It wasn't a barrage, but it means that Legion can dive right in. And they do, as Panker finishes off Adam with the Primal Rage, and he's not done yet. This is what happens when you take coffee away from Panker. He still wants to go into that cafe.
Yeah, once again, this is just gonna go ahead and favor the defense. They are doing such a good job of already cycling their Diva and their Winston off the point, so XL2 Academy haven't made any really progress on this payload now. I mean, barely just got past the gates here. Panker started to receive focus, but he's able to jump on out, goes right back in with that EMP.
EMP opened here from Blase to start the fight. They use it to bop Adam, who was stuck to the ground immediately thereafter. Panker finds Mangachu in a dark corner. God's there as well. And again, you're just seeing tank dominance come out from the Legion. And this is a very strong 1-2 tank combo that so far XL2 has had a rough time getting through.
Yeah, I was not expecting this kind of tank dominance coming out from the Legion now, but it's down to overtime. XL2, they need to try and keep this alive. Primal Rage coming out from Clone Man.
Oh,
there it is! The barrage comes out from Mangachu, takes out Gods, and now with those 3 kills, it looks like XL2 will finally start pushing this payload, but it's in overtime.
Mangachu finally getting a chance to unload after just getting bopped away, never getting good opportunity. XL2 Academy, they are in overtime here, Jamerson, but still 1 more fight to go.
There was a great stagger onto Rolf and Pooks towards the end of that fight, and so now it's going to take a little bit longer for Legion. It's going to mean XL2 are able to push this payload a little bit further now. Both of the tanks for XL2 on the high ground waiting to pounce.
They're waiting to pounce, and now XL2. Final opportunity to get this in the second. The Legion coming back out. They don't have great position here because of how they had to come back in. They're actually going pretty much brute force through the way, but Panker's still getting good cleave here. Dives to the top. Mangachu's Discord Orbs under pressure, but while this happens, then I came around the side. Got Roof with the Pulse Bomb. Sets up XL2 well, but Roof's back in the fight. Blase got to the... Oh, he got comboed on the side. Mangachu got caught off guard by Panker. Panker takes control and now moves the other side. A beating in the jail cell just for good measure as the Legion actually pulls that fight back.
Panker's just awareness is so good. He sees the Mercy, Guardian Angel to the high ground, and instead of trying to like doggedly chase after her, he knows there's another target there, and that's the Pharah, that's Mangachu, and that's who they've been neutralizing throughout the majority of this map.
He caught 2 people with Primal Rage against the wall for kills within that fight. One of them in jail was just like, oh my goodness, just, he doesn't miss opportunities like that. And it's not like from the Legion side that they had any particular great position. It was like, 6 people together, let's go. And it even started on a rough note where Roof got blown up, but was able to get rezzed. It's just, my goodness, XL2, even when things were going their way, they really weren't.
Right now, the tank dominance coming out from Legion. They're on the cusp of taking a 2-0 lead up against XL2. Unless they can figure out how to really contain Panker. The 2 maps in so far, they haven't figured it out, ZP.
I'm not sure anyone has, and this doesn't really surprise me. Again, I got to see a lot of scrims in the interim going up to Contenders, and the one common thing was that regardless of who was playing against Panker, regardless of what team he was on, though usually it was Toronto because he had not been grabbed by Gladiators at that point, Toronto could lose horribly, and Panker would still be like, this is a good game for me. Nothing has changed.
I don't want to see XL2 opt for a triple tank composition, try to put in a Roadhog, dish out that extra damage on to the Winston, or even just try to contain him with the hooks, make sure that he's not getting away with the free jumps every time he tries to kite away from the team.
I agree. I think a Roadhog would be an option here, even though, again, he's not exactly everyone's favorite hero in this meta. It is something that makes a Winston not just think twice, but think 3 times about, well, do I really want to go in? It's like, it's a hog me.
Well, here we go. Panker, he's going to be starting off, of course, on the Winston here. Just going to be straight dive coming out from the Legion as XL2. And the Soldier 76 along with the Junkrat. Now Panker looking for his moment, he just takes to the skies. And like how he uses that tech. He jumps up, jumps onto the roof, glides down just a little bit so he'll have the cooldown sooner. And
that's the Miro special. It's kind of Miro who is one of the big components of that. And Panker is a good learner. Legion now moving in. Corey focusing his fire onto the tanks. Legion working in and out. And now, how aggressively do they go into the cafe? You have Gods and Panker probing for weakness right now. Not coming here just yet. Corey doing damage on the side all the while at 70%. XL2 tries to bust out, but it's going to be Midnight getting demeched here early on. Now there's an even bigger advantage for Legion if they can keep it on the level. Their tank's still in a good position. They dive into the cafe, and now they have the room they need as Panker and Gods continue to act as bouncers.
Yeah, they don't really need to go into the cafe. They don't need to probe for weaknesses because they will expose weaknesses just by coming out of that cafe at all. 2 ticks already secured by the Legion as Blase cleans up Goliath now. Even in the back line, it's Corey. Blase picks up a 2nd kill, make that a 3rd as Midnight falls, and with that, the Legion are going to have an easy point A take as soon as they clean this up.
This is what Panker does. The fight's breaking down. He doesn't even let the supports get away. Finds Zenyatta. Now chasing him as F goes, good lord, get him away from me. And it's not enough as Corey's able to chase that down in turn. Now, the Legion working with the big advantage as they move in the second.
Yeah, this is a huge advantage. 4 minutes and 55 seconds to get through Westworld here. Luckily for XL2, they weren't stopped just outside of the gates. They were able to push it very close to that 2nd checkpoint. There's some room to breathe, but not much. Mangachu now is going to use that tire to force them back.
Tire moving in and around the Legion, respecting it, but how much can you deal with the tire here? So it's gonna demech Gods. Or did it?
Yeah, he just goes for the self-destruct to get it right back.
Okay, yeah, he self-destruct, like, because uses it right away, knows he's gonna lose the tire in that situation. XL2 just trying to maintain the high ground advantage here, but the dive's coming in soon.
The thing is, they're not doing what the Legion were doing. It doesn't matter, Midnight's already got the first kill. There is the blade coming out. Blase finds it onto Nene, but it's a 2-for-1 exchange so far, favoring XL2.
They got rid of the problem early on, and now look at the difference here in this fight for XL2. They're able to maintain the high ground. Nene gets res back up after getting slashed back down, and it's a full reset for the Legion, where again, we kind of talked beforehand, this is probably gonna be the hardest area for them to get through.
Hardest area for them to get through, but they are making progress, and they're making progress much more quickly than XL2 did on their attack run. Corey already on the lurk here. He's got that pulse bomb ready. Gonna see if anyone's on the low ground, but the entirety of XL2 is here on the high.
Legion right now sticking low, going to XL2 saying, okay guys, you have to move in and stop us here. We're willing to take this fight. But XL2, the way they're gonna take this fight, they have the Valkyrie in reserve for Adam. So Adam's gonna come in with the Valkyrie here early on. There's the Valkyrie getting popped. XL2 now engaging off that. Pulse bomb blows up Clowman, not able to be healed up past the threshold in time. It's 2 quick kills for the Legion. XL2, even if the Valkyrie wasn't enough. Midnight, equalizer perhaps, self-destruct, doesn't get anything. Panker gets run over to the side, but the Legion are still working with an edge as the payload continues to move.
Mangachu is equalizing this out, though, with that frag onto God. They might have just been able to stabilize. There it is. That's what they needed. Blase, he should be looking to just get out of there, but instead, he just gets a kill onto Mangachu. Almost makes it out. 50 health. He's getting healed up.
He's still getting healed. He's still in this fight. Please, kill the Genji. 5 HP. Finally, he ends up going down, but he built quite a bit towards Blade. He's going to have a Blade in the next fight. And XL2, they cannot lose another fight if they want to take Hollywood.
No, Legion just got way too much free ground there. No one was contesting at all. Adam does get the res onto Nene, bringing him back into this. 2 minutes and 30 seconds left for the Legion, just to push it 13 more meters.
They don't have very far to go at all here, and now this next fight should be starting sooner than expected. Blase on the left, holding on to the blade. Remember, the payload's right near the point, so they can dive in at any moment. Blase now on the top, patience, holding the blade, pulls it out, looking for Mangachu. Mangachu pops it away, gets caught midair! Blase, 2 kills midair! Unbelievable timing for him in a difficult situation as the Legion now move their way forward. Panker's activated his rage, another one's out of there. 3-0 for the Legion as they look to take Hollywood.
Midnight's trying his best to keep this alive. He's able to get back into his mech, but is instantly forced out of it. Sound barrier now as Gladiators, they want to just finish this off. They've almost got it as they do clean up Mangachu here. Trapped is Panker, but he's still doing damage onto Midnight, who's pocketed right now by that Mercy, and so they might just keep it alive. He's got his mech, but again, he is forced out.
He's forced out. Now, Legion trying to commit on this after Blase's hero play. The respawn's coming back in for XL2. Nene struggling against the stream here and actually working. They've gotten Panker out of the fight, and Nene gets caught by Gods, couldn't get back in over the top. Gods, though, gonna get demeched, still going way more in XL2's favor, and fire in the hole. This is a tire that's gonna really clear out some room, and it's not over yet.
It's not over yet. 1 minute and 6 seconds. That's all the Legion have now. They were just 4 short meters away from taking a 2-0 lead up against XL2. But some great heroics coming out from Adam, coming up from Midnight, able to stall this out for their team.
Blase almost got Mangachu there. He would have been able to dive in with the blade right after, but 45 seconds left. Perhaps the final opportunity here for the Legion. Corey taking the elevator, sneak pulse bomb attack on the way, moving in, sticks, doesn't get it, it does, Clawman's out. Here comes Blase, Blade about to be in progress here. XL2 down a man, and Blase off the top, looking for Adam. This time not gonna be an anti-air blade, ends up whiffing. Nothing in his sights. Sorry, you're not gonna repeat a miracle a second time here in this case. And XL2, they're delaying this really well as the self-destruct makes some space.
Sound barrier out now from the Legion here, but they haven't found anything quite yet. There it is. The first frag onto Goliath now. We'll see if there's going to be a stream of kills. No, it's going to be Midnight getting the D-Mech onto God. Now they're answering back. Still the man advantage now, but still, Gods, once again, no mechs on the field. All the damage.
Fire in the hole once more. Mangachu making space, gets rid of the problem. Panker taken down, but the Legion, a man advantage coming back in. Can Mangachu do it once more? Takes down Pooks, looking as it is a brawl here on the point, but Blase dashing one way, dashing another, clearing the space out, backed up by his diva in turn. It's Winston gonna be coming out here, the delay at the last one, but Blase, he's brought out another blade, looking for more, takes down Nene, and the Legion once more fighting. XL2 desperately trying to hold their ground once more, but it's gonna be over, and it is the Legion that burst on through, and they end up making this a 2-0 series.
So the thing that I noticed the most when in that kind of the end there was Blase's Genji. Was really doing a standout job of kind of damage mitigation. Sending people back in a stagger, really was kind of helping turn the tide there.
Man defied gravity, killed 2 people midair. Well done, Blase.
Yeah. One of the greatest strengths about Blase is just that here in this particular engagement was that, well, he's got Panker, right?
Yeah.
If he's got Panker creating so much space for him, like there's nothing that Clone Man can do. Clone Man's reacting to Panker almost all the time, and when your Winston isn't focusing down the enemy Genji, he gets away with what we just saw.
Yeah, I mean, let's just break down the mechanics over here. It's like, how was he airborne that long? Because he got 1 kill after the first dash and took someone down, well, he's reset himself and he can dash back up as Adam's going like, I'm flying, this should be happening. Why is this a thing? And it was a credit to XL2, actually, that they were able to bring that back because that was ridiculous.
We have a nice replay here. This is Panker, obviously just destroying everyone with Winston.
Yeah, that's that primal rage that ZP was talking about,
The
cornering
jail cell
Mangachu
kill.
and then taking him to prison over here. Yeah, it was just...
Oh, just brutal.
And I feel like that Moira pick was kind of in response to Panker also, just to give you like that extra out as a support if you do get cornered by him, but ultimately you run out of cooldowns and you're stuck in jail.
Yeah, ultimately, Panker is beating you in jail is sort of the moral of the story there. You don't have to worry about how you got point A to point B. The point is, you're in jail, it's 3 a.m., Panker's in your house, what do you do?
Die.
Yes, exactly.
You die. So I noticed also the synergy kind of between Nene and Mangachu was much stronger last week. I feel like they weren't kind of picking up where the other person was. And I don't know if that was just them or if they were just getting dominated that kind of severely.
Mangachu's been under pressure by Gods a lot. We've been talking a lot about Panker, but Gods' presence here has been important. And don't forget, when both of these players were trawling off for Contenders, there were times where like Gods and Mangachu were on the same team. So it's a case where he knows, generally speaking, where Mangachu's going to go. And every time Mangachu's tried to do something, it's like, oh, hiya, it's a diva in your face. It's not great.
Yeah, definitely. And we saw throughout that we weren't actually calling out God's name too often. And generally, when you're calling out a diva, it's either, you know, the self-destruct or he's getting demeched. And he wasn't getting demeched often. He was staying alive really well.
All right, well, that is 2-0 right now for Gladiators Legion. We're going to take a quick break.